we're going to shout out. Welcome to the podcast.
No, judgmental is laziness.
All right, so we've been gone. There's been a lot of traction. A lot of people love us.
Yeah,
and we've been gone. So welcome back. If you're new, welcome.
Welcome.
If you're listening for the first and the last time, welcome.
And if you're watching,
welcome.
Welcome. But take a look. Take a look
Hi,
around.
Grandma.
You. This is our new studio.
Yeah. So check this out. Sam has been let me talk.
Sam and Aaron.
He's literally slaved over this studio.
So have you?
And it's amazing.
It's awesome.
I'm proud of him. You know, it's been a lot of work.
Dope.
We have literally sat down maybe 10 times to podcast, to record, and we just couldn't do it.
Yep. 3 days of not podcasting.
Literally.
This. Yeah. So
setting it up for you. Why do we do it? We do it for you.
Yeah. Now you can just
do it for
now
you.
it's pretty. You can see our jungle.
All right. So what we get into today?
Okay.
Do we have topics?
Yeah, I had a topic. Do you ever have that song by your favorite artist? Or actually not your favorite artist, but they're a part of a team you like, and they sing it, and you just hate it. But then someone else sings it.
No, I don't.
And it's just killer.
I don't.
You don't? Why don't you hate it?
So was it a song that you listened to? Like, was it on a live stream or their Sunday service?
It was a live stream. So, again, it's Bethel.
Okay.
But so we were listening to the album. You introduced me to that one song.
Time and Time Again.
No. Yeah, it is that song. But you were showing me that what's her name? The Presence song.
Oh yeah.
Not Precious Blood.
It's mine. Inheritance.
Yep. And I got to listen to the album, and I listened to the song. What's it called? Definitely not that. It's it's.
Was it not that service?
No.
Was it last week?
It was last week's AM.
Okay.
Anyway, I was going through the Bethel album.
Yeah.
And Josh Baldwin has a song called what? Time and Time Again? Yeah. No, you're just growling. He's all going, so anyway, nothing against Josh Baldwin. I'm just not a huge country fan. So, but randomly, I was on the live stream and I had forgotten about this song and I heard it. And I was like, "Oh, this is a killer song. What album is this on?" I started looking up the lyrics, and I go, "Oh, this is a Josh Baldwin song. I can't stand this."
Okay, let's listen to the first, because this song objectively is not bad. You just hate his voice, right?
I got preferences on voices. We all know this.
Yeah, no, we do.
You steal the rocks that I cling to when everything else falls apart.
I remember when we first listened to this.
Yeah. I shut this one off, I think.
Did we figure out what is that a new mic or a different mic? That's
a different mic. Yeah. And then they're processing it differently.
I love this song.
You come through now like you did back then. Time and time.
But there's such a difference. There's such a difference between Bethel album and Bethel live.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And there's just a vibe.
Yep.
They can take any song and just.
So this is the one that you saw the live.
Yeah. And this is Brian Johnson's sister.
The rock that I cling to.
Oh yeah.
See, it's just a different vibe.
Yeah, it is. Same key too.
Falls apart.
Dude.
And you're still the one that I'm building on. The reason my hopes never lost.
Hold on, I got shots for you.
Also.
Hold on, no, I got shots for you. Where's my camera? I told y'all last time when we listened, go back like 4 pods ago. I told you, I was like,
"Oh, you're like this album's gonna grow on you."
Is amazing, and he was like, "No," and I said, "Yo, the same thing happened. The same thing happened to the last."
It's not the album.
We've only known each other.
It's a lot.
We've only known each other for like 2 years, right? And so we bonded pretty well. The first couple months when we was kind of feeling each other out, I was like, "Yo,
we
man,
were feeling each other up." Don't
feeling
say
each
that.
other out.
I know.
I was like, yo, man, like, yo, that new Bethel album's like Homecoming. Like, it's amazing.
Homecoming was dope. I never had a problem with Homecoming.
You were like, some of those songs on there, there's like a couple songs I would never do. Man, we didn't did that whole album. Album. So all I gotta say is I need my props for bringing up every song on this album, telling you that it was fire. Telling you that it was fire.
Give yourself claps. Give yourself claps.
It was fire. And yeah. All right, back to this song.
All right.
You're the reason my hope's never lost.
And then the chorus just slaps.
You'll come through now like you did back then. Time and time and time again. Almighty fortress.
I wonder what their in-ear mix feels like.
Sounds just like this. Bassy, EQ'd.
You don't know that. I would love to hear their mix.
Bro, you know that mix is EQ'd.
Well, it is for sure, but everybody goes, I want this level, I want this level.
Yeah, they got the best. The best of the best.
I did see a blooper, the one you were about to click on. Brian Johnson started the set, and he ended it because he was like, I have the wrong pack. He was like, this is not going to work out.
Like, yo, give me the new pack. I'd be like that too, though, bro. Your ears ain't right?
Yeah.
Okay, now we got to talk about. Okay.
Just play the bridge. Just play the bridge.
Okay, real quick.
That's what moved me.
So, hot take, though. If you do have a bad mix, it can train wreck, everything.
Train wreck. Can it? Oh, yeah. I've had to take my in-ears out before.
But here's the problem. Like, musicians that are volunteering at a church, because I honestly, here's hot take. I think it's kind of skill level though, because I am not the guy.
To build an IAM?
To what?
To build a mix for your IAM?
Not to build a mix, but to care about the mix. It's dependent on skill set. Like for me, because I always hear, you always hear the stories of like the major known artists like that is very particular about their mix. Sure. And then they're like, I'm super particular about my in-ear mix, but there's been some times that I just don't care. Like I can survive without a really good mix.
To be honest, a super popular artist probably has a preference on an in-ear mix, not because of themselves, but because they've had engineers who have done it for them.
That's true. But okay, church worship.
But I think if you gave them an iPad with a Behringer mix,
they would love it.
And no, they would go, what do I do?
Church worship leader or church worship volunteer. If, for instance, if you have a weaker team, lesser team, not as talented team.
Sure.
Like, are you mixing the guy that didn't practice?
If they need it, I've offered it. No. Are you yourself mixing in the guitar player that didn't practice? Depends on how bad it is. Yeah. So that's the beauty of tracks. It's like, to be honest, if someone's just botching it, I'm going to turn them off. And that's the reality, because front of house has them off too.
Do you think, okay, everybody that listens to this pod knows that, like, the front of house mixer dude, volunteer that works at AT&T, but volunteers on the weekend.
AT&T?
Yeah, that's what they always work at a cell phone store. That guy, this is my words. That guy, do you think people know that they're not mixed?
Oh, you'll know. So, like, what's funny is every volunteer I've ever had who mixes has always been like, I want the band. Because they're like, there's an authentic piece to it. It's like, cool, whatever. Please go to a sound man the next time you go to a professional show and ask them how much of the band is actually there. You'll find out that it's probably a 50-50.
But we're watching it. We're watching a live church mix. Is this?
There are tracks in this live.
Are you
church
sure?
Mix. Yes, sir.
How do you know?
If you watch their setup videos every Sunday, they have 2 instances of Ableton running tracks, drummer and piano player, so that they can
have a backup instance.
Yep. So if the drummer doesn't want to do it, the piano player does it. So they're in Ableton sync, and so. No, excuse me. They just do it They do it back to back. They just bounce off each other.
So the quality of musician, at least here.
Don't get me wrong. This is a whole different scenario, right? You've got paid musicians.
Is there a church that exists that does not use tracks at this level?
At this level?
Like, are they supplementing or are they?
I would say they're supplemental. I would say someone like Elevation. That's a staple.
Okay.
But I would say Bethel's more about the ability to go somewhere. whereas elevation is about the time management.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep listening to some because I'm now with that in mind.
We didn't hit the most of the time. You know if you're mixing or not.
Oh yeah.
Because like for instance, if you're a bass player, you know you didn't make that stage rumble that way. You're like, why did I hear 2 notes when I only hit 1?
Let's talk about it though, because
if you're
a bass player and you did practice, but you also hear the rumble and you ain't playing,
so
what do you call it?
That's on the church, right? So, for instance, the worship pastor, i.e., whoever's running the worship stuff, should provide what is needed. So we get mad when like a 14-year-old shows up with a junky $100 bass, and we're like, really, you're such a good bass player, but I can't put you in the house, blah blah blah. Well, you as a church should, like for us, we supply helixes, we supply basses, we supply guitars, so that someone who doesn't have all the money in the world can still play good quality. And we know that when it goes to front of house, it's running through stuff we want it to.
That's perfect. I wasn't really saying that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is if all of that is set up, then you don't have to go, well, is it going to be a situation where I have to play the track bass over him? No, you have systems in place so you don't have to do that. Unless he's just a horrendous bass player.
Do you think that?
Which how did he get on your team in the first place?
But I've heard that you use both. Like why wouldn't you double the part?
Okay, so that's a production standpoint. That's
sure.
not, but that's how we EQ it. So a normal bass got mad low end with also the attack of the string.
Yeah. We
take a produced bass in the tracks and we high cut technically it's called a low cut. You cut all the way until about, I would say 100.
Okay. And
you literally are just using that as basically a sub track to, if it's missing any low end, to mix in low end.
Yeah, you do need that rumble. Anyway, I agree. Bethel is the GOAT. Argue that in the mentions, in the comments. I don't care. Bethel's the GOAT. They're the best thing out. Okay, how come Hillsong doesn't have an album? I was thinking about that. Next topic. Okay,
let's go. They don't have an album.
They used to drop albums every year, at least 2 to 3. Used to have United, Worship, and then
I wonder what's happening. What do you mean, dude? Why don't they drop albums anymore? Go to the bridge. Also, I have something else sick in this live stream to show you. Oh, you guys are singing my bar. Whatever. Also, I was looking at her cymbals and I was like, we should buy some instrumentals.
No. Yeah, replace those stupid heartbeats.
The 2 cymbals I want, it maybe cost us $1,200.
You have heartbeats, don't you?
Yeah, obviously we have heartbeats. You know this. You played them.
I haven't played drums in years. Why the apps up? I love you.
Oh, I don't know. This is such a good bridge. And it's so simple. I'm a sucker for bridges that just go up and up. You hear that slide? Here's what's funny. It's country, but her voice isn't country, and so I'm good with it.
Here's the thing, too. They could repeat this for about 10 minutes. That's what I love. Yeah. They're going to come back to this like 4
The Spirit of God movie.
I already know. Yo, hold on. We should go to Reading. Bethel.
Dude, I would love to.
If anybody's from Bethel, I have a connection for Airbnb, too. If anybody's in Bethel that wants us to come and hang out with all of you, please hit us up.
Yeah, let's just get into the juice. Oh, wait, what? Get that guitar on the left side. I just wish they would have like held a note. But anywho, so this is sick. I've heard it. I I was like, what the? So it's the bridge of the song. Oh yeah. So this is like from an old like Lost session album. But check this bass out, dude. So ready? So they're going to the bridge and they're like, how do we make it good? Jesus, you've won me. Yeah. And you. Alright, here we go. So you're gonna shout it out. We're gonna bring it out. So you're like, oh, okay. I got that line.
Yeah.
You aren't even ready, bro. Ready?
Why is he capable?
Just a little unison line. So nice. It's a little bit cheesy, but it's so nice, dude. Dude, with a little dirt on it. That's so cool.
Yo.
Bro.
I love this is hold on. Switch my camera. Switch my camera.
I wish church musicians would play more parts.
This is the problem. This is how sad this has gotten. That we get excited
we play
over unison bass lines. Bruh. Hold on. Bruh. That should be normal.
Well, it's normal in the gospel.
How come that's not normal?
Oh, dude. I have a video to show you.
All right, let's pull it up.
Sorry. You're right.
I just want to talk about. So while you're pulling it up, I want to talk about so what in the world? Why in modern Christian music? Because here's the problem. The problem is we have. It's not a problem, but people got smart and I just what he typed in. People got smart and they have officially started writing things for churches like mass market. So this church can play it that has 20 people. The church that can play it that has 100 people. The church can play it if it has 10,000, right? And it all has different spice to it.
Yeah.
But so unison bass line, like, man, back in the day, if you go back and listen to Old School Hillsong, Old School Elevation, like, it's been a thing. It's been common to have, like, parts that go above and beyond. So, I get that.
Yeah, you know, and that, for me, I'm just like, sure, I grew up with that stuff, but the reality is like every church musician who comes in the door is like, do you guys use chord charts? Yeah, we use chord charts. And that's kind of how it goes.
You do know that the Nashville number system is fairly new amongst non-seasoned musicians. Like, you do know that, right? And it was cultural.
Is it really though?
Yeah, because you had in the gospel church, you had the number systems and you had musicians that were very competent in theory because they had to be, and the difficulty of their craft, like, that was their thing, to be in theory, to be able to show up and to be able to have versatility amongst anything that they can play, right? So I grew up like that because my father and my parents, but my dad was a musician. So we learned theory at a super young age. Thus, everybody's like, oh, like, me and Sam are unique. My wife is unique. Like, we can play pretty much anything on a worship stage.
Let me boast about myself.
That's not boasting, but the reason is because of a realization of theory. Like, hey, this keyboard works this way. So once I figured out how this works, and I figured out that every single Christian song is created equally, then, okay, I will go to the guitar, and then I'll play it on the bass, and then I'll play it on, like, the drums, right? Like, the drums isn't theory, but in theory, see what I did there? You could be pretty versatile and move. So the Nashville number system, because I do, like, it's intimidating. You know that, right?
What's intimidating?
You come to a church and they're like, go to the 1, go to the 4, go to the 6.
I don't think it's intimidating.
Dude, most people don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Really?
Most volunteers do not know what you're talking about.
Well, on our process,
and they go home and learn what's the 1, and then they write out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then what key are we in? They start off with that 1 key, and then they go through.
I guess I don't find the number system intimidating because it's part of our process, right? If a volunteer shows up, part of their application was, do you know the number system? Funny meme clips. That's way different than the clap we used to have. Anywho, profile saved.
Saved right there.
So we're going to saved.
There you go.
I got 2 of them.
All right, cool. You gotta switch the camera though.
Yes. See, this isn't.
This is why I control the stars. But hey, we gotta let Sam cook.
We gotta let him cook. So where's
gotta turn the audio. Oh my gosh.
So this.
Oh my gosh.
This is just so funny because it's so true. The caption is like, this is what I thought the peak of comedy was when I was 6.
He is preparing for you as we even speak. I smell heaven's bakery cooking up something good for you, sister. If God's got to send a bird, he'll send a bird. Oh, hallelujah, hallelujah. And now listen to this. You go a little further. You get the 1, God's for you. You get 2, he's with you. And then the last biggie.
He sees you.
God's in you.
Oh, no, he's in you.
Oh, man.
I don't get it.
It's cheap comedy. It's TBN dudes who are just.
Was he
remember
really
those
farting?
heavens were shut up.
Oh, somebody added that.
No, yeah, he just. He's so extra. He's so extra.
Heavens were
shut
shut
the
up.
Spirit of God hit me.
I get it.
In faith, breaking through.
What are we doing, man?
All right.
And she proved God.
Anywho, this I saw Karate for Christ.
Okay.
Learn to perform master-level moves such as the crucifix, the Last Supper, the Bad Samaritan, the Burning Bush, abstinence. Learn to perform master-level.
So those are some memes for your week. I hope you enjoyed them. Too much.
Yeah. So I want to react to this clip really quick. And just a little bit of it.
Do you know who that guy is?
No, who is he?
So he's a part of the charismatic movement. This guy's name's Will Hart. Bro, that guy used to weigh 300 pounds.
Really?
No joke.
He looks good.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you would have seen him, you would have been like, that's not him. Like, he literally looks like a different human.
He looks good. All right, so let's watch this clip really quick and then react to it. And I'm cutting that out.
Why? People love it.
No, they don't. I love you. Because he knows that triggers me. If you listen to our first 6 podcasts or 5 podcasts, the biggest feedback I got was, I'm never listening to this.
These belches.
Dude burps in the mic. I'm not listening to it.
Dude burps. I'll fart in the mic if you need me to.
Jesus. Okay, so on that point of following the Bible, right? And coming from a place of knowing Him first.
Yes.
One of the criticisms that I have heard,
is it criticism?
I hear a lot of stuff, right? But I'm in Randy's seminary, so I'm working on my master's, and in some of the world that I've gone into,
did you just go? I love it. Did you hear that?
Dude, for some of the some of the stuff we have to do, I end up dealing with a lot of critiques of the charismatic movement.
Randy Clark, is that his name?
Yeah, Randy Clark.
Yo, shout out. Our set almost looked like that. And I don't hate it.
Hey, we're the green room.
I don't hate that set.
Coastal movement, which I'm fine with and I love.
That.
But one of the things that I've watched a lot of is people who are like, listen, if they're a part of Bethel or a part of Hillsong,
right,
then we should not be singing their songs.
Sure, I've heard that a lot.
Can you talk to me about that? Because I think that comes into basically what I think their argument is they are theologically not sound, right?
Sure. Yeah, they say
so we shouldn't sing. But I'm sure you've faced some of that where you're like, you're singing these things in the Lord, but that's the opposite of the word says.
And I would say I've written some of those songs.
Okay, like what? Can I ask what?
Yeah, let me think.
Okay.
I mean,
okay, that's intriguing.
What you got to say about that?
I think she's rubbing her face because she realized what she just said. She's like, I think I've written some of the songs. Oh, crap.
Do you think?
What do I mean by that?
Do you think she's written some of these?
I mean, she has because her name's on it.
Let's continue.
Maybe not something. I don't think I've written anything. I would never write anything that I didn't think was sound good.
Okay.
But I have written songs that are more about the internal. I would say in my more immature state than I would ever write now. And I think it's because if I'm meant to minister to the Lord, the more I spend time looking at myself, how do I expect it? Where is that going to get me? Right? That just gets me in all the meanness, and it's awful. So I think.
And Steph, in that place of vulnerability, there's a myriad of messages I pray never make it and see the light of day.
Yes.
A myriad. Like, there's so many things that I preach in my immaturity.
Christian, yeah, it's
oh,
true.
God, you have no idea.
You know how Chris talks about, there's books he like wouldn't ever,
Yeah.
he would never have written.
Yeah.
You know, that's real, but I think it's along the way. It's like, sometimes I feel like, I mean, it comforts me when I read about the Lord rebuking his disciples, because I know he reproves the ones he loves. And we have to learn those lessons, you know? And so I would say that I taught things to artists before that I would be like, burn it!
Right.
Burn it!
Right.
You know, then, but all that to say, yeah, there are songs that are like, I think in the last year, there was like, it wasn't until you got to like the top 60 or something on charts. I was told this. I don't even look at the charts. Yeah. I don't care about garbage. But I didn't. Someone told me they were in a meeting where they were listing off all of the charts. And until song like 60, there wasn't even anything that was to the Lord. About
What do you
him.
mean? So
all of the songs, there are all these Christian songs that are considered worship.
Right.
Oh, this is painful to me. They're considered worship, but they're not actually to him, about him. They're about what we get out of it.
Love.
Which is so true. There's truth in them.
Yep.
It's just that when we've come to minister to the Lord, that is not what we're doing. This is not like, and I get this, and I get this, and I get this. Like, ooh, it's become so much about us. I don't even know how we call it worship anymore. Sometimes, like,
So
I don't even know.
what's your line of demarcation, right? It's just, it is about him, or is it about...
Well, my line of demarcation is, if you know the presence of the Lord, you feel it lift when those songs come on. You can go from singing a worthy is the Lamb,
Right.
or look to the Lamb, Agnus Dei, holy.
Oh my God.
Holy. And we go from this song and we go into like a super like heart, what I get out of it. And I'm not saying these songs aren't beautiful. I think they should be written. And I think that they're meant to be in ministry and intimacy with the Lord. I think we have to have those moments. But when we're leading, when we're like with a whole people and
she sounds like me. She's like hard on one line, then like
it has to be from him and through him and to him are all things. And it just gets into a really soupy, dangerous place.
Yeah.
So I would.
What do you think about that?
There's a lot of thoughts here. I think it's very interesting that she's like basically deciding to kind of say, I disagree with some of the things I've done over the years. I think that's interesting. I would say, I would ask her, is this part of why you left Bethel? Like, what's going on with that?
Did she leave Bethel though?
Yeah, she's gone, man. She lives in Nashville now.
Okay.
I think the one thing I find just interesting about this culture is the whole minister to the Lord aspect.
What does that mean?
That phrase, dude.
Minister to the Lord. What does that mean?
Minister to the Lord, from what I understand from like Upper Room and Houses of Prayer and all these different charismatic leaders, is that essentially it's just the main goal of a Sunday or a church gathering, which is very interesting because they're using this language when it's public church gatherings. And they get together and then they say, you know, sorry, that distracted me. Then they say like, oh, we're going to minister to the Lord. And what it essentially looks like to me is, let's forget about the room and let's just give praise to God, which is like cool. But if you're a worship leader, part of your job is leading the room. So
this is a pretty big conversation too, because you always have had an interesting relationship with spontaneous, cultured worship versus like,
I
mean, because you kind of clowned it earlier, but
clowned what?
You said elevations really stick to the point. Or stick to the
I
time.
didn't clown it. I just said that's reality.
Reality. Sorry, not
so
clown.
Like elevation.
I gotta watch my words now.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
Sorry,
because they're time code people.
Yeah,
they all live on a time code. Like I have friends now who work for Elevation in the broadcast and the pop-up church world.
Yeah,
and so I know for a fact that they live on time codes, and they all stream and broadcast at the same times, so that worship leaders who are at Valentine can be on the screen leading with the band who's live and blah blah blah
blah blah blah.
So they're time punched in, whereas Bethel they can well, no, they're multiple campuses, but they're not satellited.
Got it.
Yeah. So the satellite model makes you go, we're all locked in here.
So how tell me what's the difference between the way Elevation does service and the way you do service, or that you've seen
the way we do it,
or your philosophy?
My philosophy? What does that mean?
Like, tell me how they're different.
Tell me how they're different. Well, so like the gospel's preached at our church. No, I'm just kidding. No, so I mean, the difference really is like there's flexibility. I think I would say there's a lack of flexibility from what I understand of elevation system.
So there's flexibility in your method.
Yeah.
How?
I can cut it whenever I need to. Well, specifically speaking in the worship, I can cut the tracks.
You can't dictate a service.
What do you mean?
Meaning, elevation has 1 minute to 30 minutes worship, 30 minutes to 60 minutes sermon, 60 minutes to 70 minutes worship, out. How is theirs? Because this fluctuates. So we go back to Bethel. That service might be 2.5 hours. They might preach, they might not.
And I would not subscribe to that.
Why?
Why? Because, bro, tell me the last time you sat in a 3-hour worship session.
But that's
I'm going
difference.
Nuts.
That's the difference.
Also, the Sunday gathering,
different
the
flavors.
Sunday gathering is not like that whole line, minister to the Lord. Sunday gathering is not just for a bunch of bloated Christians to get together and sing about God. Part of the evangelistic part of the church, the reason we have our church doors are open on a Sunday is, yes, to encourage the gathering of the saints, of the believers, but also so that someone who doesn't know Jesus can walk in and hear the gospel presented.
So my argument is you do the same thing that elevation does.
Sure, I would just say we're a little bit more flexible. Our time code's a little bit more like, if we go 20 minutes over, whatever.
That's not true, though. There's no way you can go 20 minutes over.
Sure, we just did it 2 weeks ago.
But that's not normal. That's
not normal. Sure, you always have times you're shooting for, but we're not sitting here going, broadcast starting in 0.5 seconds. We're counting down.
But you are. You are. I don't see any difference, and that is the bigger conversation which we will have again. Because I don't necessarily agree that you can't have 30 to 40 minutes. Like, if the Spirit's flowing and moving, why can't we just do worship all the time? Why can't we do the song and the bridge of the song 7,000 different times? And if and a new believer can identify at that, or at least watch.
It's happened here.
Okay.
It just doesn't. It's not always.
I'm not going to turn up this
because I would listen. Because I would say to create spontaneity out of just the desire to be spontaneous is not helpful to anyone in the congregation.
Why? What if that person's hearing from the Lord, sense in the Spirit?
I would say that's good, but just to be like a worship leader who's like, I just want to go extra because I want to be spontaneous. That's not spontaneous. It's like people,
I know it's like you have to have a culture. You have to have a culture of that.
Well, you have to have a culture, and you also have to steward the time wisely. Like,
what's the time? Why is there a time crunch? Where's the falseness of time come in?
No, it's just whoever the pastoral staff deciding, you know what, for us, 30 to 35 minutes is on the front end, or the back end is where we like it. Or because overall in our service, we spend over, 45 minutes in worship. So we do 2 songs up top and we do 3 songs on the back end. And so for us, like, that's a heavy chunk. Like, that's a good chunk of service. Yeah. But there's also churches who sat around and went,
sure,
you know what, we're starting with an hour of worship.
Sure. And I'm really trying not to speak about specific church. Like, I know not the specific in your life, but philosophy wise, because that's been a lot. That's always been something on like my mind of, hey, there's a difference between like truly autonomous leadership and then there's also a difference between accountability.
Right.
And I think that sometimes a lot of worship pastors, leaders, they get stuck in the rut of oversight, right? Like there will always be a leader at the top and there always will be accountability for someone who sets the tone. And so you have culture where like Bethel, they set the tone of, hey, like this can go as long as it can and needs to. And hey, let's have 16 bridges in there. And hey, let's have, if there's a moment, go with that moment. Like their culture dictates that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily wrong to have that type of culture where versus an elevation and churches that I've just grown up in where it's just, I mean, it's this amount of worship, this amount of preaching, then you're out.
Yeah. You have to decide that. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's it, sissy. And
what
so
if
there are
it's
these
not a
moments
feeling?
I'm doing that with, hopefully, I pray, oh Jesus, help me. Oh, help me do it well. I'm pushing on those things, right? Like, hey, not to throw anybody else under the bus, but going like, did you feel the shift?
Right.
And we do that with like Josh and I, who's my worship pastor at church. Like they're such dear, he and his wife. And
yo, she's at a church that she's not the worship pastor of?
She's not.
We're like, did you feel that?
She's just on the team.
Well, when we did this song.
Yeah.
Why?
It's because we went from here to here. Right. And it makes a huge difference. And we do that in our lives all the time. And I think there's such a buzz. Listen, I believe the Lord talks about many counselors. I'm all about it. I love counselors. I had counseling. I'm going to keep having, I love it. But like, if we would completely yield to Jesus and yield to this gospel, yield to his presence, walk with Jesus, walk in community, like the Acts church.
You guys get the gist. So the button I think
church culture is so funny to me, man. Like,
yeah, it is.
To be honest, like, I just have to say that, like, there's a lot of lingo in here that's, like, super charismatic. And the reality, like, even the shift thing, like, to me, a shift comes when there's a good leader who sings good gospel-centered songs. I think that's what's so funny is, like, they're detoxing from the fact that they haven't sung Christ-centered music.
Because here's a
they
problem.
Have, though.
Here's a problem.
So they have,
here's
but...
No. Every other... This makes me mad. Every other freaking industry... profession like has credentials and accreditations.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Give it up for them, right?
Sure.
Now you go to the church, bro, it's the wild west.
Wild west.
So yeah, all that's great, but your philosophy is not their philosophy, and their philosophy is not their philosophy. Well, and this color means this, and this color is that.
Secondary
and
and
I like to sing it like this,
theology.
and I like to sing it like this, and I believe this, and I don't believe that. And these people can be a part of this, but these people and this gender can be a part of this, but then there's all of this stuff. And so that's the biggest problem that I have, because what school did the media director go to?
Sure.
Where's his training?
Yeah.
Or is he a dude that grew up in the church?
I just think it's so funny that she's like sitting there like, she's like, oh, when we sing holy songs about him, it's like, yeah, churches experience that all over when they stop singing K-Love and they start singing King of Kings, right? When you stop singing, I'm going to sail a boat in the ocean and it's about my sin and blah, blah, blah. And that's great. Cool artistry all day, but when you get together and you decide to finally sing instead of
how do you know and how do you decide what this what does that even mean?
It's the same. We've had this conversation. It's the same reason I don't sing Gyra.
How did you know not to?
I looked up the lyrics, and that's my theology.
Yours? Where did that come from?
But here's the thing:
where did that come from?
My theology comes from my experience, my training, my schooling, all that. But I get what you're saying. There's many.
What's
50 shades of church here.
What's 2 plus 2?
2 plus 2 is 4. And what's 1 plus 1? Jesus Christ is the gospel.
In Christendom, 2 plus 2 is 1,000 different numbers.
This is where we get mixed up. Everybody has the 1 plus 1, Jesus Christ equals salvation, but we get mixed up in secondary and tertiary doctrine that tells us, oh, well, they're not a part of our church here.
Okay, I do agree. I think that everybody gets mixed up in the methodology to get there. I think we all believe the same thing, but the way to get there.
I wouldn't say we all agree the same thing. Like if I sat and talked with Mike Todd, I'd probably call him a lunatic. I'd probably say,
yeah, but he does the same thing you do.
I would say
just different.
I would want to have that conversation and say, are we the same?
You would have the conversation and say, my way's better.
No, I wouldn't have the conversation my way. I would say, why? Why do you do it this way?
And he would say, why do you do it the way you do it?
Right. I want to just have an inquisitive conversation.
And then who's right? That's the problem.
Well, who's right is the word of
God. See, it's all subjective. It's like the stoplight when I got here. Is it red or is it green? I don't know.
Depends on how many cars are there.
I don't know what you saw. Anyway. All right. So this is a shorter pod. Y'all don't know this because of the magic of editing, but this is a shorter pod. So we love you. Me and Sam, here's my commitment to all of our weekly listeners, because if you made it this far, you really like us. You really like us. So
yeah, if you're listening.
Me and Sam are going to talk, and we're going to try to, in the next 4 to 6 weeks, commit to a release date that gives us not pressure, but it gives us accountability to drop and record in the week.
Great.
So I'm thinking like Mondays. This will probably not come out on Mondays, but no, if we record on
releasing.
Yeah. So after this one,
I don't record on Mondays.
We're gonna figure out what day we release it.
We're gonna
the
figure
weekend
it
will
out.
be good.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do a little question and answer episode next time. So follow us on IG.
Let's get into it. We just want
to know your questions.
Hot topics.
Get this dude rolled up because he can't turn up as much, but still try to. We're gonna try. You're
gonna see me go.
I love Jesus. He's on the throne.
Jesus is the answer.
All right, we got one song.
Hey, listen, this is from I didn't know this came out. Aaron just pulled this up, and I was like, I had to stop talking because I love this church. They're from Colorado Springs.
This song's called "Nobody But You." Who's this written by?
I would credits. Are there any? Go to the credits.
Yeah, there should be.
I would say John Egan,
every YouTube,
Jesse Cates, and D. Wilson.
There you go.
So D. Wilson, John Egan are worship leaders at this church.
Yeah.
I don't know who Jesse Cates is, but
cool. Let's listen to a little bit.
Nobody.
Yeah, play this in your church.
Last week is called "Nobody But You." And
Nobody
Jesus is the
but
only
you.
way, the only truth, the only life. It's the only name that we can call. He's our firm foundation. He's our strong tower.
We'll talk
He's
about
the
a church
hope
that
of
writes
salvation.
gospel music.
You remember this? We're going to sing this right here. Through the ages. Through the ages.
Oh, his voice.
Thrones fall and kingdoms end. There's only one God who stands. There's only one God who stands.
I bet you there's musically a difference between this video and the released.
There is. So let's listen to the. I was going to pull both up. Let's listen to the chorus.
There's only one risen King. Here's your part right here. Who is our strong foundation?
Jesus.
The rock that won't be moved.
Jesus.
The hope of our salvation. Nobody but you.
Yeah, so
you've heard that. Now
I've heard
listen
that.
to the Spotify
Yeah,
version.
I want to hear like.
That's the one that I pulled.
Well, they have
from
like
Carl
the video, but whatever.
They they do have the little lyric video that
the lyric video, bro. Oh, 100%.
Way better. They hit 10.
Yes. Way better.
Through the ages, thrones fall and kingdoms end.
Oh, those
There's
overdub
only one
vocals?
God who stands. There's only one God who stands over nations.
I love when you're in the studio. You're like, through the ages.
They're like, do that 7 more times.
Do it again.
All right, here we go.
Through the ages.
Nope, not that one. Do it again. Through the ages.
Rulers and above all things. There's only one risen King. There's only one risen King.
Oh, dude. Play this in your church. Come on, dude. He is the Lord Almighty. There's nothing He can't do. Nobody. Jesus, nobody but you. Oh, dude. Oh, I like that. They could have.
In our failures, who is strong enough to heal our land? There's only been.
I love that line.
Dude.
Who's strong enough to heal our land?
Yeah, it's from If We Humble Ourselves and
Fire.
One who can. There's only been one who can. There's a power. There's a greater and exalted name.
Bro, is this on multi-track?
Who's always been the one who reigns.
I'm about to play this.
Oh, Jesus, you're the one who reigns. Who is our strong foundation?
I told you to gap that thing over it. I said, you just put gap under it?
Yo, that scared me.
Nobody but you.
Who is the Lord Almighty?
There's nothing He can't do. Nobody. Jesus, nobody but you.
Yeah, go to multi-track. Yeah, what they do with this bridge?
Nobody but you.
Don't log in, just search.
But we have to log in at the track line.
There's only one
I don't have that.
Jesus. Only one name to call. There's
Only one name that stands above all.
Jesus.
The one name that saves us. Only one name to call.
There's only one name.
Oh,
They dropped it out?
Who is our strong foundation?
Right there, New Life Worship. Go to their name. Yeah. Yep. Oh. Yep. They just don't have tracks. They do?
Ooh, okay.
Oh, what was that though? What was that?
What was that? What do you mean?
Hold on, what was that?
What was what?
What were they doing with that? Right there.
Are they about to go in something? Oh,
yeah, that's not over.
Right here. Nobody.
Sam got excited.
Nobody.
Bro.
Nobody but you.
Call response? All right, let's come back to that. So,
dude,
we're gonna ride out to that. So let's go over some parts. What part do you want to hear? What you thinking? If you didn't know, what we do is we break down specific parts of a song, so you can play it in your church. Let's hit some guitars. What are we doing here?
Yeah, play electric too. Oh no.
Nothing electric 2, electric 4.
Verse 1.
So this is one faux pas I have about multi-tracks, to be honest. Some like electric 2 and electric. So play electric 2.
Nothing.
Electric 3 is like barely part of. Like those two could have been together. You know.
I'm gonna pan apart. Pretty straight block chords. Got an organ in here? No. Not yet.
Here it comes. And they're gonna turn on. Oh, that shit is fun right there.
Come on.
That's just rhythm.
Yeah.
I want to hear their acoustic sound like crap.
You know, acoustic ain't in the mix. Come on.
That acoustic's in the mix.
That's nice.
That's a stereo.
Verse 2. Drums
So what they
in.
do is, this is just production tips.
It's just overdubbed, huh?
No, it's overdubbed. So what you do is you take, if you listen closely, it's left. They're playing it, and then they double track it in the right.
Tracking it right.
And you can actually hear the differences.
Yeah, you can. Good little guitar part here.
Actually, yeah, I've never said this on this podcast, but like we do production, mixing, and all that stuff. So
that's why we love this.
If you ever have questions, let us know.
So this rhythm,
like if you want to know what kind of compressor you put on your microphone live. We also have I have a good buddy named Andrew Leopard. You can go check out Leopard Productions if you want to. Oh, this is usually when I produce is where I get lost in the keys. I'm just like,
you're like,
oh,
what
I
do
can
I
add
do?
this.
Yeah, let me
and
add
then
something.
By the time I'm done mixing, I've deleted 8 of them.
Drums. Oh, what's that part? I hear that.
It's like it's almost like a dulcimer. With
It is, yeah. Dulcimer. Low in there. Crunch.
What's their bass sound like? Pretty standard tone.
Ooh, okay.
That's a 5-string. Is what.
And they drop that out, the drums.
No, this is the yeah, that's different.
They don't got that rumble though.
A little chorus. That voice. Come on, D.
His voice is nice.
His voice.
His voice is
Voice.
nice. Do you know him?
I met him.
Cool.
Just
like
at
cool
a
dude.
conference.
He's a cool dude.
But
Well, cool, Sam. It's been real.
Dude, it's been real. Welcome to our new podcast studio.
New podcast
Hopefully,
studio with the boys.
just remember, it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure.
All right, go get some therapy.
Go get therapy. Maybe
see you guys.
Maybe Brandon Lake and Better Help will reach out one day.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Dude, what if we try to somebody tweet at Brandon Lake right now.
Somebody tweeted multi-tracks, Brandon Lake. We'll partner.
All those dudes. We trying to hang out. We're trying to partner. I just want to
try and chill. I
want to interview Dante Bell too.
I don't.
All right. We out. Peace.